Let's talk about prospecting for B2B sales. But first, let's start with a definition. What does that mean and why is it important? Well, prospecting means being able to go out and find potential customers for your business. This video is brought to you by Email 10K. Learn how to book meetings with billion-dollar brands and take your company to the next level at email10k.com. So for instance, when we're selling to agencies at X27, where we offer marketing services to all sorts of B2B companies, not just agencies, but I'll use them as an example because that's what we talk about a lot on this channel. Let's say we're going after agencies. Prospecting would be the process of finding those companies. What email address is the right email address to send to? Is there a phone number? What company are we even going to? That is the prospecting process. And it's hugely important for businesses because if you're emailing the wrong people, you run the risk of getting marked as spam. And if you don't even know how to prospect, you don't know who the right people might even be, then you run the risk of complete business failure. If you're unable to find your customers, what are you even doing here? So that's why prospecting is important. When we were first starting X27 and me and Robert decided that we wanted to go after agencies, we built as massive of a list as we could. We found 3,000 contacts in the agency space, and I actually did an old video where I showed myself emailing like 100 of those guys, and we made 10,000 bucks off the first 100 sends, which is pretty good. That's pretty good results. But we wouldn't be able to get there if we didn't build the list. So we went out there and we identified the target, we built the list, and that's the prospecting process. So let's go through the prospecting process. Here are 4 ways that you can prospect for your business based on what we've done personally. Number 1 is start building your inbound channels with content marketing. That means creating YouTube videos, creating blog posts, and making content, not just so that clients can find you. That's the typical thing online is like make blog content and then people will find you. But really you should be making content like we made on this channel, things like the agency teardowns we used to do, or the cold email teardowns, where you go and you create a very specific piece of content that shows your expertise and then email it to people like that person. So for instance, we went out and we made a video for the agency Fueled back in the day, and I emailed it to the CEO of Fueled, and we ended up getting a consulting contract right off of that email. In the video, I did basically what I would have done in a proposal where I just went through, broke down their site, talked about how I could generate more leads, and instead of just keeping that private, we published it for free on the YouTube channel. And because of that, we got more leads that we normally would not have been able to get if we had just sent it private via a cold email. That is what I'm recommending you to do if you're trying to create content. It's got to be very specific, right? It's content where you're actually showing your expertise. You're doing teardowns. You're doing what you'd normally do in a proposal. And in order to keep it less vague and less general when you're starting out, I would actually do it through the lens of a specific business. Exactly what we did when we were starting out. So look at a potential client, maybe even look at your lead list that you built, look at a potential client, improve their site or do your thing. If you're a social media guy, talk about how they can improve their social media and write a few posts for them for free. If you're a sales guy, talk about how they're selling. Maybe go through their sales process and talk about what they're doing wrong. If you're a cold email guy, write some cold emails for the business. Do what you would normally do if you were a consultant, but for free and in public. And that's the best content strategy I've ever found. Second and final piece of advice on content strategy right now is also tell a story. You were watching this video, notice how I'm not one of these guys that's just like, here's 5 tips and tricks based on what? You know, that's what I'm always thinking, based on what? So I'm always making sure that when I'm giving you a tip or a trick, it's based 1 on our personal experience, but 2, I'm telling you why it's based on our personal experience through either a story or an actual example from the real world. And that'll help your content actually be more interesting and make more sense to people. By the way, if you want to just hit the like button, that would be amazing. Just go down there and hit it. It really helps the channel. Thanks so much. So that's the first channel. You have your blog posts, you have your YouTube videos. Now let's talk about number 2, which is my personal favorite, which is outreach to people using cold email. This is exactly what we talked about on this channel. We've generated millions of dollars in sales using this method, which is basically identify who you want to talk to, find their email address using what we talk about in our course, Email 10K. We talk about this in full. Write an email, sell to them, make money. It's that simple. You make a list of people you want to talk to. They can be your dream clients. I recommend going after clients between $5 and $150 million in revenue. That way they can afford you, but they're not too enterprise, so they can still buy from you. Email those guys, work with those guys, and that's that. It's that easy. That's what I really like about cold email. You don't have to worry about your fear of being on camera. You don't have to worry about anything. All you gotta do is type out some emails and follow the Email 10K scripts that we provide, and that's it. You're off to the races. You're off to a good start doing that. The third thing you can do is get a foot in the door with cold email. That means reaching out to not just super cold contacts, but friends of friends or companies that you've been big fans of. So I would actually have two different lists here, and that's why this is a different topic, and this isn't just part of number two. Number two is cold contacts that you would love to work with, but you don't have any relationship with. Number three is cold contacts that you would really love to work with. So these are your dream companies. So for instance, when I made that video of Fueled, they were one of the dream companies. When I was working at the old agency in New York City, they were one of the top competitors over there, and I really wanted to get in there and see what they were about. So the real dream companies, everyone has these, right? Like you've got your companies that you would kill to work with. Those are the ones that you want to send more detailed, warmer emails to, apart from the ones in point two, which is more of a, I don't want to say a spray and pray approach, but let's say number two, you have 5,000 leads. This one, these warmer cold emails, you might have 50 or 60 leads or even less, just companies that you'd kill to work with. And that's another way to get started with your prospecting. Think of who would actually close. Who do you know and who do you kind of know that would buy your service, that run businesses, that maybe they're a friend of your boss, maybe they are your old bosses. That's number three here, are prospects that would actually buy your thing right now that you might actually know, and then sending them an email, introing yourself and trying to sell to them. And then the third way to prospect is to keep an updated presence on social media. And I'm a big believer in social media, right? Most of our leads come through YouTube, and we also have a blog, we have Twitter, we have all these other channels, we have LinkedIn. I am a huge believer in running one social media channel, taking that as far as you possibly can, and then maybe outsourcing the rest. The people on my teams disagree there. I know Robert at X27 likes having a corporate social media as well. I think, personally, I don't run that because I think that's kind of a waste of time. It's soft branding, which I'm not a big fan of. I typically like to do lead generation focused branding, which is if our Twitter channel is not making sales, there's no reason for us to have a Twitter channel. That's the way I'm thinking about it. If you're going out and you're making your social media channels for prospecting, I would think about it like that. If you're gonna create a LinkedIn account, what are you actually posting on that LinkedIn account, not just for soft marketing, but for sales? Are you commenting an hour a day on other people's content? Are you posting detailed videos directly on LinkedIn? What are you doing for LinkedIn? Same with YouTube. How are you creating videos that are actually gonna lead to sales and not just videos that are gonna lead to likes or views? So this is pure social media prospecting. So here are my tips. Here are Alex's tips for good prospecting. Tip number one is keep it consistent. Yes, I know last week was amazing. You closed 10 deals, good job. You better still be sending out hundreds of cold emails, because if you're not doing the work consistently, then you will have dry spells. So I always recommend doing a consistent amount of work. If you notice, even on this YouTube channel, we're always doing 3 videos a week, sometimes even 4 videos a week, but we're never doing 1 video a week, all right? Consistency is really the only thing that matters in terms of hitting your goals over a long period of time. Another tip is personalize the touch points. So some businesses, when you get to scale, like we do at X27, we don't personalize with custom first lines for X27. But when you're just starting out and you're learning copywriting, like I teach our students at Email 10K, or if you don't have a very specific lead pool, and if you don't know what that means, then you need to personalize your touch points to an insane degree. That means custom first lines. That means making sure that your lead pool, your leads are as
tight as possible.
And I'll talk about that in a future video. The more closely related or more similar your leads are, the less customization you actually have to do in the emails. But at first, make sure you personalize as much as possible, and it'll avoid you spamming, and it'll help you, because you won't be burning an entire list of 3,000. You might burn or embarrass yourself in front of 20 people instead of 2,000 people. Third tip is use tools to scale faster. We talk about all the tools in Email 10K, but there are lead databases out there like UpLead, and there are email sending tools like Mailshake and Lemlist that will allow you to automate a lot of the cold email outreach process. And there's the same for social media, like TubeBuddy or Hootsuite is what our corporate social media uses for our Twitter account. So there are different tools you can use to automate this stuff, and don't be afraid to do that. There's no reason, if you post 3 YouTube videos a week, there's no reason you have to actually film them all on the day they're posted. You could film 3 at once and then post them over time. Same with cold emails. You can write 100 first lines today and then have them send out 20 a day over the week, or 3,000 and have them send out over a month. There's no reason you shouldn't be taking advantage of the tools that are available. And if you want all of our tool recommendations, hop in, email 10K. It also comes with a private community where you can talk to me directly. The 4th tip is focus on quality over quantity. When we were doing email outreach recently for BotFuse, which is our chatbot service, I wanted to go after companies that had a certain software installed, Hotjar, because I knew if they had Hotjar, they were probably focused on conversion rate. Now, when I went to make this list, I made sure then that everybody on the list had Hotjar, and then I was able to write an email that didn't even use custom first lines, but it was able to say something like, hey, notice you had Hotjar installed, huge fan of your company, and that means you're a conversion rate person like me. I could say that, and it seemed like a custom first line because everybody had that specific criteria. So if you focus on quality of your contacts and similarity between your contacts, it really allows you to avoid a lot of the hassle of cold emailing. And number 5 is the goal should be getting to the meeting. If you're selling a $4,000 to $12,000 a month service like we sell at X27 Marketing, then your goal is not to sell them via email. Yes, if you're selling a smaller thing like we do with BotFuse, if you're selling like a $45 a month thing, you can sell over email and not on a call. But as the deal sizes get bigger, it makes sense to, instead of trying to sell via email, just try to get them on the phone, and then you can sell on the phone. So just keep that in mind when you're sending your cold emails. This video is brought to you by Email 10K. So you don't have a business idea, huh? Do you want to know what the best business to start is, regardless of market conditions? Check out the free presentation at email10k.com. We have over 200 students that are crushing it using this business strategy, even during this time. So check that out, email10k.com. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to subscribe for more content like this video to encourage this type of content on YouTube, and subscribe. We have all of these past videos about sales and marketing and entrepreneurship that you can check out, and I would love to be here for your journey, your growth as a salesperson or as an entrepreneur. Thanks for watching. I'm Alex Berman.